Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Transformer Transformation Review thing. And today I'm doing Transmetal 2 Megatron. Ooh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, back for another Transformer Transformation Review thingy today with new toy joy. At long last, Wave 2 has hit the Midlands. Just about managed to find one in Smith's today. The last of a very few. But now this is the one I would have wanted. Actually, this one that I do want. I think we've also got Autobot Ratchet, and then I haven't seen any Voyagers yet, but it's just about hitting the Midlands. Wave 2 has been in the country for a while because Nick Hardy got Autobot Ratchet quite a few weeks ago, and I went out the next day looking for this. Well, looking for Wave 2. Couldn't find any of them. Absolutely none. So they're here. Relax. So, auto assembly, hence green, and hence me selling stuff on eBay. And I mentioned it in my last, I think it was my last video, and I had lots of people requesting the name of the page. So, to that end, to that end, something will appear here now, hopefully. And also there'll be a little green screen now. So that's my eBay page. There isn't an awful lot up there at the minute. But I will be adding stuff over the next few days and weeks, probably. Yes, new days and weeks. There's just a Snapdragon up there at the minute. I'm going to add another Snapdragon. For some reason, I have a couple of Snapdragon with headmasters knocking about, so I'm going to get rid of those and a few other things. I'm just, pulling my funds for auto assembly because that's where I can go and get. I can experience new toy joy to the max. Someone offered me $100 for this. I'm not going to be selling this on eBay. No, the user, I can't remember. But no, I'm not selling this. Not even for 100 quid. I spent 6 hours repainting this Universe Vector Prime. No chance at all. Doesn't it look rather like a Transmetal 2 Megatron? Anyway, what was it called? It's called a Bakugan. It's on the floor now. I don't care for them. It's just one of those days where I wanted something a little other than a Transformers. Well, rarely it ever happens. But I think what happened was the market was saturated with movie toys, and I don't collect them because they're shite. No, Dave, I'm just going to keep this in them. You know what you need to do, Mr. Mintz? This is a challenge for you and any other movie toy fans out there. Right, well, for Dave anyway. Convince me why they're good. Convince me why I should start collecting them. Now, why I should start collecting them. Having said that, I have a really, really big box full of movie toys, and I've got quite a few movie toys on display here. Prime and Jetfire, the combined versions up there. There's another Prime Voyager, Leader Class, and there's 2 Leader Class Megatron. There's another Voyager Class Megatron. There's 2 Voyager Class Megatron. So I've got a few displayed in this room, but in the other room, a spare room, there is a box full of movie toys that I don't love. I just don't love them. Convince me, Dave, Mr. Mintz, why? Why should I love them? Why should I love them? I can't think of any reason why. Transmetal 2 Megatron. Now, the reason I'm doing this today is because it's one of those things that people come to auto assembly wanting, 3rd to the 5th. And Nick Hardy how hard is going, and I'm so pleased. It's one of those things that people come to auto assembly wanting. Now, we all want things like Brave, Fort Grand, Maximus, Overlords, etc. And I used to have a Brave and a Fort Maximus, but I was in a band that sucked money out of me like you wouldn't even believe. So I had to sell them in order to continue being in that band. The band are no longer. And so I want my big bots back, but I'll get them eventually. So people come to auto assembly wanting these big bots, but the ones that are manageable, the ones that people want that are doable it's usually Transmetal 2 Megatron, Cryotex, things like that. So I'm showing you TM2 Megs today because I don't have a video of him up at the minute. And it is a bot that's doable. It's a bot that's achievable at auto assembly. For you people going, for our American cousins who can't make it, I am sorry, but please, try harder. Next year. See you there. Let me tell you, give a little bit, not background, I'm not going to tell you anything about Megatron, because I'm not going to be able to tell you anything you don't know. But did you know that originally Megatron, yes, was going to be this toy? This was going to be the leader. Was going to be the leader of the Predacons. So Megatron was going to be killed, and presumably a spark or something was going to be reformatted, and Inferno, this mold of Inferno, was going to be Predacon leader. He was going to be the Predacon leader, but it never transpired for some reason. You know, they tried getting rid of Optimus Prime, and they had Rodimus, and they played a little with Ultra Magnus, or, you know, it just, none of these things really worked. So they probably thought a little better of it. This is a fantastic toy, and he would have made an excellent Predacon leader. He's got the face for it. One of those faces. But this is why we're here today. Transmetal 2 Megatron. Lots and lots of lovely gimmicks. He's just gorgeous. The thing I like about this guy most is the fact that he's a big, shiny red dragon. I have a thing for dragon formers anyway. Flying things in general, whether they be organic or technical. Helicopters, planes, insects, birds, dragons, especially dragons, mythical beasts. But especially whenever they can do stuff like this. You know, he's got these fantastic wing gimmick. His wings are going to move a bit. He's so eminently poseable. Really awesome. He's got this whole kind of Celine Dion love ballad thing going on with his head. Every night in my dream. You know, this kind of thing. And then he can look at you kind of oddly. He's got this fantastic thing that I love in a bot where he can go, He-Man! That always makes me happy. He's got interesting stuff going on at the back. He is without kibble in both modes. Absolutely without kibble. He's got this big bendy tail. What I don't care for is the fact he's got a couple of missiles that I don't have. I have his box and his instructions, but I don't have his missiles. I don't think I've had his missiles, actually. I'll have a look for them. Like this stuff on his neck here. Look at that. That's so cool, isn't it? You get his hackles. Oh, it just looks so good. This stuff looks so good. What do they call it? Metallized plastic, something like that. Just a really nice bot. Now, like a lot of Transmetal 2s, especially Transmetal 2s of this size, he has a tertiary mode, which is a dragonster mode, like a dragster mode, and I will not speak of it here today. This reviewer does not care for it. No one does care for it. It was completely and utterly tacked on, and nobody likes it. So, there we go. The wings go down. So, have a look at the back. He's got a couple of little switches here. This one pulls down, makes his wings go up, and then you push it to the side, and it locks them in place. Unlock, and they fall down. That's nice. Isn't that nice? This is the funkiest thing ever, because you pull back on this, and his head moves. You twist it from side to side, and his head twists from side to side. You can even lock it in an upwards position by pulling it down, putting that little switch. Now, I'm going to tell you about this in a second. There's a little locking mechanism there. Now, in 100% of these guys that went out, this entire thing was upside down. What you've got to do, unscrew, rotate 180 degrees, and rescrew. Then you can utilize this little locking mechanism. Otherwise, it is completely and utterly redundant. Now, he was repainted into another very sexy bot. This Robots in Disguise Cryotech. I have him complete. Even his missiles, which is good. This guy is probably a little sexier, but he's not a Megatron. He is a Cryotech. He's the only Cryotech, to my knowledge, in plastic existence. We have a Cryo Scourge, which is not exactly the same. Very similar. Cryo Scourge is, well, way at the back there, you wouldn't see him. But he is absolutely beautiful. So this also is one of the things that people want at auto assembly. But I'm going to show you this guy today. I'm not going to speak of his tertiary mode because it is extremely disappointing and very dull. Quite an involved transformation. It involves, first of all, loosening panels and eking things out in different measures. I like the fact that this whole array, I like what happens here. I like what goes on there. It's cool. Chest, everything opens up. It's the kind of thing that you would expect initially would be very much a panel former, but he is not as panelly as you might think he is. not quite as panely. There are a few panels, and of course any bot's going to suffer from a wee bit from some kind of panel disease, but not especially this guy. I mentioned the RC earlier, and the fact that I do think she's a very nice bot. There is a slight but two buts as it would appear. The fact that bots these days are getting smaller and thinner, and you may have noticed. The reason I say that is because I've recently got Stormcloud. That's a repaint of the Ultra, albeit an Ultra Paraglide, and it's a nice chunky bot with good plastic, and I like the mold, so I was happy to get the Stormcloud. And but more recent bots, now that's only a few years ago. More recent bots have got a lot thinner and a lot flimsier. So I would upscale that and then talk about, for example, the Supreme Class Optimus Maximus that we're getting. And I was initially very excited about it until I seen a review of it, and he's full of holes. He's, just his arms are littered with big holes. His legs are littered with big holes. Where they just thought it was that it just didn't. They couldn't afford to fill him in with plastic, and that made me a little bit sad. It made this reviewer just a little bit sad. But I wonder, is there going to come a time whenever we're going to run out of plastic entirely, and plastic will become a currency? Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's something I've thought about before now. Am I getting a little bit too George Orwell? I'll just stop. Get on with this fantastic bot here. Now, there does come a point, I remember before when I did transform this guy initially, where I keep thinking I'm going to break the wings because they don't want to come down past the legs or the arms properly. He is a very interesting bot. What I like about him, this is a very interesting bit of transformation. This entire section rotates like that. First of all, I've got to get this little dragony bit out of the way like that, and then this bad boy is going to come all the way down and reform. And you see what we're left with is this fantastic little dragony driver right there. Initial sketches for this guy had this as a there was like a little Megatron in there driving it, and that would have made so much sense for example, something like the Beast Machines Megatron, because he had, let me just see what's going on there. Beast Machines Megatron, he had the well, he had that kind of cloaked mode, and then he did have the he had a few different versions. He had the what do you call it? The Mega Bolt, the big head mode. That was never really an official kind of on-screen bot, as far as I'm aware. Look at this. Now, I say he has no cable, and you're looking at the back of this, and you're thinking, I can see a bit of cable. I'm not finished yet. Rotate these guys like that. Not quite finished. This pigtail comes down like that. These arms could hardly ever be described as cable. Look at the back of that. It's just very sexy. Last few things we do here is I'm going to give him a shield. You pull this little shield out, which was the bottom of the dragon, you know, that kind of bit that's meant to be impenetrable or something at the bottom of a dragon. Open up this a little bit so you can see his face, and there he is. He is absolutely fantastic. I display this guy in his dragon mode just because I have a real soft spot for dragons, and he looks absolutely fantastic. He's still got the gimmicks in this mode. The other missile will go in there. Like I say, he comes with two missiles. One goes in there and will fire whenever you depress these little horns like that, and the head opens. So the top jaw and the bottom jaw move, and then one goes in there and it will fire out by deploying that. Now, I just don't care for missiles, and I would be very happy if no bot ever had missiles ever. Guns and swords and daggers, yes, absolutely, weapons are fine. Just don't make it so that anything fires out them, because I find that so dull. He was originally going to have a little Megatron in there, and that would have been very nice. But it's odd to think that he was going to be Inferno, or rather Inferno was going to be him. Now, for those of you who are a little bit interested, these form part of the tertiary mode. It does look a little bit what happens to Transmetal Megatron, even insofar as you can give him the little roller skate mode. so he can kind of go along the gap. But that looks silly. This isn't part of this mode. The dragster mode, which is basically the dragon lying in its stomach, that's all it was essentially, a dragon lying in its stomach. It was as bad and as dull as that. He is very, very sexy, and he's very doable at auto assembly. What am I thinking? 50 quid? You're not going to get him complete in box for 50 quid. If you do, pick him up. Absolutely pick him up. This is the very collectible, the very sexy Transmetal 2 Megatron. Every Transformers fan worth his or her salt wants this guy. I'm so happy to have it. Auto assembly, see you there. Good night.
Now that's what